بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على الحبيب محمد وآله وصحبه أجمعين. So just show of hands, how many people attended with us last time the Seerah trivia? There was a Seerah trivia a couple of weeks ago. Perfect. So almost 30-40% of people. Good. So let me reiterate the rules. It's very simple. Number one, have fun. Okay, that's the first rule. Have fun. Adults and kids. Number two, try to collect as many candies, and we added actually additional small toys. So that's not just candies, because the feedback was we don't want just candies. Some kids don't like to eat candies at night, and the parents don't like that. So we have also some small toys. Rule number three is also very simple. Don't shout any answers. Okay, I'm going to call on you. You just raise your hand, and I'm going to call on you. And then I think we have some gift cards. Nabil, come on.
Yeah, so I was planning to get gift cards. I went to get gift cards, and they said you cannot have $5 gift cards because I was going to distribute as many as possible. Now, the idea is when there is a difficult question that is worth a gift card, I will say that this is a gift card worthy question, and if you answer it, I will get your name, and you and I will have a business transaction.
So you're going to have a lot of fun and a lot of prizes. That's the game plan. Okay, everybody ready to have fun? So what are we talking about today? Did anybody hear Brother Amin? Oh, Prophet Musa alayhi salam. No, we're going to expand more than that. So we're talking about the prophets in general. Okay, so we're going to talk about the prophets in general. We're going to dive a little bit into the prophets. We have a Q&A. We also learn as we go. We're going to have some interesting information that you can learn from. But before we actually dive into it, because Sharafuddin was reading here, anybody from the kids, not from the adults, knows the surah that he was reading? And the kids, the surah that he was reading. Al-Isra? Good job. So here is the last thing I forgot to say. There are two people. Muhammad, stand up. Yahya. Those guys have your candies and prizes. And on the other side, there are two girls over there, Malak and Noor. They also have candies and prizes, okay? So anytime you answer, don't look at me. Just look at them. They will give you the prize. Sama Muhammad? Muhammad. He's the first one. He already answered. Stand up. Give him. Yalla. Was Surah Al-Isra. Okay, very relevant to all the stuff that we're going on today. Cool. So we're going to start more general. How many prophets are mentioned in the Quran? Usually the girls, at least based on the seerah, always knew. Oh, you know that? How many prophets are mentioned in the Quran? Okay, only raise your hand if you know it, because we have so many questions, so we want to make sure we go through it. How many prophets? 25 it is. 25. Okay, so we're going to go a little bit harder because you guys are so good. So actually, an overwhelming majority of those prophets are mentioned in one surah. There is one specific surah that mentions a lot of those prophets. Which surah is it? Huh? Isra? No. Anbiya? No. Oh, we have a winner here. An'am. How many prophets are mentioned in An'am? Out of the 25, how many do you think are mentioned in An'am? You already got your prize? Come on. Stand up with your basket, because you're going to give a lot of candies. Yahya, you do the same. How many are in An'am mentioned? انت بتعدهم ما شاء الله. You know the long ayah? افتكرت هقراها. Yes, how many? You know? Let me tell you. Do you know? 19, very close. Very close. It's 18. 18 it is. 18 are actually mentioned in An'am. Yani just Surah Al-An'am, you have 18 prophets mentioned in An'am. Right, we're going to continue general, and then we're going to dive into a couple of prophets, inshallah. Okay, cool. I love that. You should get your whatever, candy, present, something. Yani, you're good. You can always give it to somebody else. Don't worry about it. So you have 18 mentioned in An'am. Okay, cool. So now let's go one step harder as well. How many prophets were sent to of Arab descent, were sent to Arabs? How many prophets were sent to Arabs? That's very hard, by the way. You're going to tell me the names of the prophets, okay? Who were sent to Arabs? How many prophets were sent to Arab nations? He doesn't know it. Arab nations. And then the next one is actually a gift card question, okay? So if you get that, we're going to build on it, and then we have a gift card question that early on in the game, just that we have. And by the way, the parents can help. Everybody can participate except Google, okay? You cannot Google that stuff. Because I'm not Googling it either. So we're all together but you can ask anybody in the hall here. Okay, how many prophets? Yep. 4 prophets. Tell me their names. Shu'aib alayhi salam. Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Hud alayhi salam. Salih alayhi salam. Good job. You're so good. Push more. Push more. It's not 4. Wait. It's not 4. They were sent to Arabs. You're very good. They were sent. The 4 you mentioned are Arabs. There was 1 non-Arab sent to Arabs. You get it, you take the game. Huh? Good job. So there are 5. There are 5. Ismail was not an Arab, but he actually was in Qabilat Jurhum. So he is considered going to give both. Give both. Yeah, both. We're going to give everybody. Don't worry about it. Everybody's going to have fun, inshallah. So now this is a gift card question. But no Googling, okay? No searching. This is a gift card one. Is that early in the game? Okay. So who knows? I saw some people that know Arabic, alhamdulillah. Okay? Cool. In the Quran, those 25 prophets, most of those prophets are mamnu'in min as-sarf. You know what mamnu'in min as-sarf is? You say, آمنا بما أنزل إلينا وما أنزل مثلا على إبراهيم وإسماعيل. Okay? But there are a couple of prophets, very select, so that we learn something together. When you memorize, I hope the folks that have memorized the Quran here know that stuff. There are a couple of prophets that actually are masrufin, yani you can actually put the fatha or a kasra on, and the parents can play. Muhammad is one. That's only kullahum ya Amr. Tell me all of them. Parents can play. This is a gift card one. You can invite your family. It's on Nabil's dime, so that's good. Huh? Mean? How many of those prophets? And give me their names. Huh? Ishaq? Okay. So how do we know them? The way we know them, actually, any name in Arabic. Let me tell you something interesting. Any name in Arabic that is non-Arab, okay, is mamnu' min as-sarf. So all the prophets out of the 25 that we talked about, and there is an exception, we're going to get to it in a second. All the prophets that we talked about, except the 5 that you guys mentioned, should be mamnu'in min as-sarf. That's why you say ala Ibrahima wa Ismaila wa Ishaqa wa Yaquba. Okay, Al-Asbati is not a prophet, but it's okay. Okay, so all of them are actually mamnu' min as-sarf. So you start basically with the base that says there are 4 Arabs, and Ismail was actually non-Arab sent to Arabs. So you have 4 you start with. And then there are 2 others that are an exception in Arabic, which is when a prophet's name is 3 letters and the one in the middle has a sukoon, then actually that name is masroof, la masroof. So you have 2 prophets that fit that criteria. Who are they? Mean? Yeah, I'm going like 3 letters, and then the one in the middle has sukoon. Huh? Oh. Hud was already non-Arab, Arab, sorry. So Hud already is part of our 5, our 4. Ayun? Nuh is 1, and Lut is the other. Good job. So actually the number is 6. 6, okay? The 4 you guys, but I'm going to take the gift card. Nabil, this is mine. Okay, so basically there are 6. This was just some fun, so you guys get break the ice. Let's now start. The first prophet in Islam is Prophet Adam alayhi salam. Good job. And Prophet Adam, Allah created Prophet Adam from what? Now we said no shouting. Everybody's going to get candies, trust me, or a gift. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're going to lock the doors until everybody has fun and gets a gift. What's his, from what? Yes, from clay, from clay. So Prophet Adam alayhi salam was created from clay. And then Allah created for Prophet Adam a wife. Her name is Hawa. Correct? So this is how the story of creation starts. It's very important to know. It starts with a boy and a girl. So in Islam, we only understand boys and girls. That's how a family gets constructed. This is how the creation started. Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, Sayyidina Hawa. Good job. And they were in paradise. We don't want to debate that point for long. And then, but here is a tougher one, because it seems you guys know a lot of that stuff. So, Allah told Adam, you can eat from everything in paradise, except one tree. And the shaitan was trying to make him eat from that tree. I want my gurus here, the folks that know the Quran well. Okay? The shaitan came and told him two arguments why he should eat from the tree. He told him, if you eat from that tree, two things might happen to you. If you tell me what those two things are, you get the candy. If you tell me which surah that is in, we'll see if Nabil gives you something more. What? لا ما كانش أكل ما كانش أكل. He wouldn't have eaten. Only raise your hand if you know it, because we have so many people, mashallah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so first, he would live forever. The second, he would become an angel.
Good job.
I think this is in Surah Al-Rahman.
الرحمن, you missed it. بس yes. هو الآية بتقول إيه؟ إلا أن تكون ملكين. So it actually starts with the angel. يلا, you're still gonna get. أو تكون من الخالدين. And this is in Surah. This has the longest actually story of Sayyidina Adam. The longest story of Sayyidina Adam in the Quran is in Surah. Huh? إيه؟ لا 15 صعب عليا. بس 15 no, it's not 15. Which surah it is it? We already have somebody that knows it. Huh? Al-A'raf. Okay, Surah Al-A'raf. You need to get your facts straight. We need to know always what the source is, so that nobody just stands up and tell you stuff that is wrong. Okay? So, and actually in Taha there are two other expressions that we're not going to go there just for simplicity. So A'raf, إلا أن تكون ملكين, angels, أو تكون من الخالدين. And we see that the shaitan is actually addressing both Sayyidina Adam and Sayyidina Hawa. So we don't believe in the idea that only somebody does the sin and all that good stuff. Cool. So this is where we are. And then Adam decides to eat from the tree. Correct? So Adam decides to eat from the tree. So when he eats from the tree, what happens? Something important in almost all ayat that talk about when Sayyidina Adam eats from the tree. And Hawa, both of them eat from the tree. What's the first thing that happens to them after they eat from the tree? The girl with the black hijab. Yes.
They get sent to this world.
Before they get sent to the world. Guys, calm down your voice. Yeah, noise a little bit. Yes. Yes. They become exposed. I want you guys to focus. We do those stories so that we learn from them. Okay? It's not just the gifts you're going to get. They become exposed. Their private parts become exposed. Okay? Which tells you that since the beginning of the creation, modesty was very critical. And the human being was created, Allah created the human being wanting to be modest, wanting to cover up. Okay? So all this modernity talk and then having people dress less is not Islamic and is actually against just the human nature. So the first thing that happens is they get exposed. Okay? And then they try to cover themselves, and then they go on earth, and then they actually repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when they repent to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah sends them a dua that they should say. What's that dua? Which surah is it in? What are my gurus? What's the dua that Allah gives Sayyidina Adam? He did the first sin, he wants to repent, he didn't know what to say, and Allah gives them a dua to say. What's that dua, guys? Or girls? It's too hard? Yes. Good job. قال ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. Oh Allah, we have wronged ourselves, and if you don't forgive us, we would be among the losers. Which surah is it in? Not surah? Rahman. I just gave you guys the hint. Al-A'raf. We just said it has the longest narration of the good job. Give me 5, Anakin. I love that. Did you get candies and presents?
I got only a toy.
I got for
No,
the first
you get more.
question.
You get more. Muhammad, this guy is giving me a lot of good answers. Okay, cool. So they go on earth. They make the dua. Allah forgives them. Now, why did Satan not like Adam? Why did Satan not like Adam? Yes. Yes. Sorry? He thought he was better than him. So Allah basically told everybody to do what? To prostrate, to make sujood to Adam. Everybody did the sujood, correct? All the angels. And then, so is Satan an angel? So why was he also there? Because he was such a great worshipper. He was actually in a very high status that allowed him to be with the angels. But then when he was told to prostrate to Adam, he became arrogant. He became arrogant, and then he basically did not prostrate. And he said, I'm better than him. So that's one of the things in my house that the kids are not allowed to say. Even when they're playing electronics, they're not allowed to say, I'm better than you. Because this is what got Satan into trouble. So never be too arrogant, okay? Even if you actually are better than somebody around you, perhaps they're better in something else. Never say to somebody, oh, I'm just better than you. Because that's what Iblis said. Cool. So now Adam is on earth. So we want to know something interesting here. What does Adam mean? Have you ever thought about it? Adam in Arabic. Adam. Adam. It's a name, but what does it actually mean? Is it your name? You know what Adam means? What does Adam mean? Huh? Red? Red sand. No. In Arabic, Adam is not red sand. Huh? What does Adam mean? What? Dirt? No. We actually have the answer here. You know what Adam means? Adam means dark skin. So when somebody next time tells you that like we differentiate on skin color, tell them Islamically we never do that. Our father Adam in Arabic means dark skin. Could you imagine? So don't let...
How many people did actually know that? Or how many people learned that for the first time?
Yes. Alhamdulillah. Good. So Adam actually means dark skin. So that's how Islam teaches us. So that's how Islam teaches us to be for like pure equality here. Cool. So this is now Adam is on earth. We know now the story of Sayyidina Adam. He had two sons. We're not going to go into that story just given the time. I want to be conscious. Last time we went over time and people wanted to go eat and play and stuff like that. So we want to respect the time. So after Sayyidina Adam, in most narrations, Idris alayhi salam is the next prophet. We don't want to debate the order because everybody can follow whichever order they want. But in most narrations, Idris alayhi salam. So we know something very clearly about Sayyidina Idris that is mentioned in the Quran. What is it? What? Good job. That's actually what we know about Idris. When we stick factually to the Quran, is that Sayyidina Idris, Allah has elevated his rank. And we know also in the hadith of Isra and Mi'raj that Prophet Muhammad saw Sayyidina Idris. In one narration in the fourth sky, I think in another in the fifth. We don't want to debate that, but Allah has elevated the rank of Sayyidina Idris. Cool. So after Sayyidina Idris, in most narrations as well, comes Sayyidina Nuh, which is, Sayyidina Nuh was actually mentioned in the ayat that Sharafuddin read. Okay, Sayyidina Nuh comes next. So Sayyidina Nuh is very interesting. How long did Sayyidina Nuh live? No shouting of answers, please. No shouting of answers. How long did Sayyidina Nuh live? Yes, the one with the front. 1,050? Huh? 1,000, 150. Huh? 950. 950. 950. Good. That's groupthink, but you guys are good, so because it's the right one. Usually groupthink will get you in trouble, okay? Usually don't just follow the people next to you. But again, this time you guys are cool. ألف سنة إلا 50 عاما. So 950 years. You know how many people actually believed in Sayyidina Nuh? For 900, I want you to imagine, 950 years, Sayyidina Adam is preaching people, telling them, oh, believe in Allah. For 950 years, how many people believe in him? 10 أشخاص. So we have a lot of Nuh. Sayyidina Nuh. So we have a lot of narrations in there. The one that is more authentic, and we don't want to disagree on it, is that there were around 80 something people that believed in him. Okay, so in the 80s, less than 100, around 80 something people believed in Sayyidina Nuh. Now I want you to imagine, because we're not going to go past that one too quick. 950 years preaching his people, 80 something people believe. My math gurus, how much, almost on average, how many years does one person believe? On average, yeah, 12, 10-ish, something like that, because we don't know the exact number. 10 to 12 years. Now, if somebody was now, and you're evaluating their performance, and one person believes, or basically accomplish what they're supposed to do once every 10 years, you would look at it as like, whoa, this result is horrible. You do it once every 10 years. That's not a good result. But that's a great lesson for us from Sayyidina Nuh, that Allah teaches us and tells us that Allah does not judge us based on the outcome. You could do whatever you want. Allah judges the effort. وَأَنْ لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى. It's not the outcome. So even if Sayyidina Nuh, nobody believed in him. He did his role. There are prophets that will come on the Day of Judgment with no followers, and ones that will come with 1 or 2 followers. They did their job. So what you learn is that you need to do your job. It doesn't matter how many people follow. It doesn't matter what the result is, as long as you actually truly did your job. Okay? Sayyidina Nuh is very interesting. We all know Sayyidina Nuh, as we said, lived around 950 years. 80 something people believed in him. Now, what was his people that did not believe? Sayyidina Nuh told them something very specific, interesting in the surah of Nuh. He was pushing them to do what? وَقُلْتُ what? He was saying, the Safina, yes, but he was telling them to do something. Believe in Allah and? Somebody said it. وَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ. We also learned that from Sayyidina Nuh, from his story. That he was telling his people to ask for forgiveness. And what does Allah promise them? On Sayyidina Nuh, when Sayyidina Nuh tells them, he says, وَقُلْتُ اسْتَغْفِرُوا رَبَّكُمْ إِنَّهُ كَانَ غَفَّارًا يُرْسِلْ السَّمَاءَ عَلَيْكُمْ مِدْرَارًا وَيَمْدِدْكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ جَنَّاتٍ وَيَجْعَلْ لَكُمْ أَنْهَارًا. So basically that teaches us that if we continue to do istighfar, that's a huge door for sustenance, for rizq, and for Allah to accept us. Cool. So you told us that it was the Safina, correct? The ship that Sayyidina Nuh was building. So what was the sign? Allah gave him a sign. Allah said, build a ship. Now I want you to imagine, it's mentioned in the Quran as well, he's building the ship in the middle of the desert. Everybody passing by is making fun of him and his people. Because we're in the middle of the desert, and he's making a ship. I mean, there's no sea, there's nothing there, okay? And he said, you're making fun of us, we're going to make fun of you as well. And then Allah told him there will be a sign that happens. When this sign happens, get the people in the ship. Get 2 pairs, like 1 pair from each in the ship. And the people that believed, except somebody. We're going to get to that. So what was the sign? The girls today are not, in the seerah, the girls were way on top. You're asking for help? Yes? Okay, what was the sign? What was the sign? Okay.
There's one right back there.
Yes? Ayo gets out of what? Yes, cool. وَإِذَا ثَارَ التَّنُّورِ. The tannoor actually is the stove where they used to do the bread. So basically, usually there's fire in there. So this was a clear sign that water is going to come from the place where actually fire comes. So that was a very obvious sign. So Allah told them, if that sign happens, then get everybody in the ship. Cool. So there is in the Quran the story of Sayyidina Nuh when the tufan starts to happen. Okay, when the tufan starts to happen, and now he starts to debate with his son. Now imagine, his son was an unbeliever. Remember what we said about Sayyidina Nuh? When you actually track the story of Sayyidina Nuh, it's about effort, not results. His son was actually a non-believer. He tried his best. This is Sayyidina Nuh, one of Ulil Azm min al-Rusul. He tried his best. His son was still an unbeliever. And the tufan comes, the water floods the earth. And his son says, Sayyidina Nuh tells him, come on the ship. That's all mentioned in the Quran, by the way. Come on the ship. And he says, yes, سآوي إلى جبل يعصمني من الماء. He says, I'm going to go, Muhammad. You're not giving people candies, Habibi. It's not for you. You have to give them. Yes, your goal, you know your goal. Your goal is to finish the candies. So he says, I'm going to go on the mountain. Look at the arrogance. Subhanallah. His dad is a prophet. He tells him, come on the ship. He's seeing the water. It's actually happening in front of him. He says, no, I'm going to go into a high mountain, on top of a high mountain, and that's going to protect me. Okay? And Sayyidina Nuh tells him, nothing is going to protect you today from Amrillah. There is nothing to protect you. No mountain, nothing like that. وَحَالَ بَيْنَهُمَا الْمَوْجِ. This is actually beautiful, but for the adults, for Amr specifically, because he's starting to speak. So out of mercy of Allah, to Sayyidina Nuh, Allah did not make him see his son drown. وَحَالَ بَيْنَهُمَا الْمَوْجِ فَكَانَ مِنَ الْمُغْرَقِينَ. So before the son actually drowns, the waves come in between so that he does not see his son drown. Look at Allah's mercy. Even with the son that was an unbeliever, said the father, which is Sayyidina Nuh, does not see his son drown because it's tough, regardless whether he believes or not. Which surah are we talking about? Which surah mentioned all that? Gabir. Good job, Gabir. Good job. Surah Hud. It deals with two things, or whatever he wants, Jabir. Surah Hud actually is the one that mentions this whole story of Sayyidina Nuh, a long story of Sayyidina Nuh, when he's debating with his son and the son drowns. And that's one of the reasons why Prophet Muhammad says, "Sayyabatni Hud wa akhawatuha." Everybody focus on فَاسْتَقِمْ كَمَا أُمِرْتَ, which makes a lot of sense, but also the stories in there that you're going to find and what happened to the nations are pretty tough. Cool. So this is Sayyidina Nuh. Good. So a quick one. When the ship stopped, don't ask your dad. Okay? It stopped on a mountain. What was the name of that mountain? Don't ask your dad. I'm looking. Ayyo, somebody said it. Oh, well, I said it. This guy is not allowed in when we do it. Or he does the quizzes. What was the mountain's name? Mount Sina? La. Sina is a different story. Huh. Judy. Good job. Judy. Okay, we have a shadda at the end. So when you read the Quran, you know how to read it. Al-Judi. Okay. Yes, Kevin? Exactly where it is, I don't know, to be honest. But so we know that all this stuff was happening in in the Sham type area. Okay, cool. So, and some people said at some point Turkey. Okay, we can get to back that, Gabriel. Some people said Turkey or Sham, but I don't know. Cool. So this is Sayyidina Nuh. After Sayyidina Nuh, we're going to have a couple of very quick questions. So, Prophet Hud was sent to which nation? Which nation? لن تحافظ ما قدرش مصيبة. Which nation? ها؟ ثمود؟ يا راجل اتق الله. ها؟ عاد. Good job. عاد صح؟ وإلى عاد أخاهم هودا. عشان كده ما جبناش الناس اللي حافظين. Okay. And Prophet Saleh was sent to which nation? I need somebody from the girls. Prophet Saleh was sent to which nation? Saleh. Girls, I think girls. Yes. Thamud? Good job. And the sign for Thamud, Allah sent an animal to Thamud. What was that animal?
Like a pregnant she camel.
Okay, a she camel. Good job. So Allah sent them a she camel and they actually slaughtered it. Correct? So that's why they got punished. Cool. And Sayyidina Saleh was telling them to do what? Definitely he was telling them to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but what else? Too hard? Okay. Who comes after? So let's actually just give it the time, because we only have 20 minutes. So now we are in, we want to go now to Sayyidina Ibrahim. alayhi salam. Okay, because that's a big one. We cannot cover. We cannot say we talked about the prophets and not go to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam. Sayyidina Ibrahim is very interesting. So a lot of stuff going on. So first, what was his wife's name? Huh? Guys. No joking. I need new. Yes. Huh? Tahira? No, not Tahira. Not Tahira. Ali. Hey, Ali قول. Hajar. Okay. But the actual first wife was what? Sarah. Good job, Sarah. And that's why you find the name Sarah, by the way. Everybody calls themselves Sarah. Whether they're Muslim, whether they're Jew, whether they're Christian, because everybody connects to Sarah through Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam. So when you start to know that, you realize why people are using the name. So Sarah is a common name because everybody uses Sarah. Cool. So first wife was Sarah, and she was not having kids until they were both very old. And then Prophet Ibrahim had Hajar as another wife. Yeah. We're going to go with that saying. And then they travel where? Where does? To Mecca. Good job. And you didn't even ask your dad. No. Good job. So they go to Mecca. But before that, what did his people do to him? The people of Sayyidina Ibrahim. What did they try to do to him? Yes. Throw him in the fire. And what did Allah tell the fire? Allah told the fire actually two things. Okay? You only know one of them. But if you check the Quran, Allah tells the fire two things.
One of the things I know that he said is for the fire to stay warm and not hot.
Yes. So the two things are Kuni Bardan wa Salaman. That's very important. Because Bardan only if Allah tells the fire be cold, then it could actually hurt Sayyidina Ibrahim. Because he could freeze. He could freeze. So Allah tells the fire, gives the fire clear instructions. Kuni Bardan, so don't be hot. And Salaman, be peaceful, Sayyidina Ibrahim. Cool. Sayyidina Ibrahim actually then also goes and debates with a very famous king. The name of the king is what? مقوقس. لا مقوقس ده عظيم الروم. مش فينا مقوقس ده وقت الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم. مقوقس مش معانا دلوقتي. The king's name was. مفيش حد عايز يساعدنا من الناس الجديده؟ يس. ابراهيم مين يا عمي؟ ابراهيم ده الشله دي ضايعه. يس. Namrud. Good job. Namrud. Yes. And what do they debate? Because we have that actually debate in the Quran. Yes. Good job. And if you tell me which surah, you get the gift card. Because the gift cards are for surah. Yes, they debate the idea of getting the sun from the east to the west to the east. Yes, and this is in Surah أنفال يا عم عن بدر يا عم انت تبع مين انت تبع مين الأنفال عن بدر. Surah what that talks about that? Somebody knew. Surah Ibrahim, that's a very good guess, but it's a wrong guess. Al-Anbiya, very good guess, wrong guess. Harun? I don't know Surah Harun. Hud is a good guess, but it's a wrong guess.
No.
These are all good guesses because they have a lot of stories.
Upstairs, there is one.
Oh, Surah Al-Baqarah it is. Good job. You got in front of you. Surah Al. Just calm down because we want to continue. Okay. يلا it's in Surah Al-Baqarah. بس كده لازم تقسموها. Surah Al-Baqarah, cool. So now we know what happened with Sayyidina Ibrahim, and we fast forward. Actually, somebody that is very famous. By the way, most people did not believe in Sayyidina Ibrahim. Let me tell you, okay? So most of the people did not believe in Sayyidina Ibrahim. But somebody very famous believed in Sayyidina Ibrahim. Very, very famous. مش هقدر اخذك يا عمرو. سهل عليك دي. Somebody very famous. So let me give you a big hint. He actually became a prophet. He became a prophet. Lut. Good job. وآمن له Lut. And then Sayyidina Ibrahim says, I'm going to travel. وقال إني مهاجر إلى ربي. Cool. And then we talked about, you told us that Sayyidina Ibrahim and Hajar went to Mecca. Cool. So Hajar got a son, and his name was Ismail. Okay, his name was Ismail. And Sarah got actually a son later on. When the angels came and were going to go punish the people of Sayyidina Lut, when the angels were going to punish the people of Sayyidina Lut, they actually passed by Sayyidina Ibrahim and they saw Sarah and she was smiling and they gave her the glad tidings of a son, and the son's name was Ishaq. Good job. So now, we're going to pause for a second for a question and then we're going to continue the story. There's only one person ever lived this earth. Focus with me. Only one person that has ever lived on this earth that can claim that he is a prophet, and his dad is a prophet, and his granddad is a prophet, and his great-granddad is a prophet. There's only one person that has ever lived on this earth that can make that claim. He's a prophet, his dad is a prophet, his grandfather is a prophet, and his grandfather is a prophet. Okay, but you're going to tell me the four names. Huh.
Yusuf.
Sayyidina Yusuf can make that claim because Sayyidina Yusuf was a prophet. Okay.
Yaqub.
And his dad is Yaqub alayhi salam is a prophet.
Ishaq.
And his granddad is Ishaq alayhi salam, which is a prophet.
And Ibrahim.
And his great-granddad is another prophet, Ibrahim alayhi salam. Good job. So he's the only one that can make that claim. Guys, calm down. We're still in the masjid. And we want to make sure we continue our previous every month, inshallah, at least once, okay? So we don't want them to kick us out. Cool. So that's Sayyidina Ismail, but let's go, Sayyidina Yusuf, but let's go back to Sayyidina Ishaq and all the stuff that happened. So now we're with Sayyidina Ismail in Mecca, okay? Back to the scene, we're with Sayyidina Ismail in Mecca. His mother's name was, we already said it, Hajar. And they were left in Mecca, and Sayyidina Hajar did what? Did something very famous, because Sayyidina Ibrahim left them and they had no food, no water, nothing. So what did she do? Yes, between what? Between Safa and Marwa. That's why people go to Umrah and go to Hajj and they actually mimic what Sayyidina Hajar was doing. Okay? They go between Safa and Marwa. How many times? 7 times. She did it 7 times. And then what happened when she was on top of the mountain for the 7th time? Yes. Basically, what was the name of it? Zamzam. Okay, Zamzam well came out. Okay. So here's a cool thing. Just بالراحة. The cool thing is, Zamzam well, where was Hajar actually? Hajar, based on the narrations, she started from Safa. That's why you start from Safa. She goes to Marwa and then she ends at Marwa. Okay, Marwa. Okay, so most likely she was on top of Mount Marwa. But actually Zamzam came closer to the baby. Okay? Because her running isn't the thing that got the Zamzam out. It's actually Allah's mercy. Okay? But Allah still wanted us to learn that we need to make the effort. Even if it's an impossible task. She needed to make the effort. After she made the effort, Allah made it happen. Cool? So now that's Zamzam. And that's why you have Zamzam back then. Cool. And then let's fast forward a little bit and go to Sayyidina Ishaq. We said his son was, what's his name? What was Sayyidina Ishaq's son? Okay, there is another name for Yaqub. There is another name for Sayyidina Yaqub that is very known, mentioned in the Quran, mentioned everywhere. Israel. So you need to realize that. When we say even Israel now, or when we say Bani Israel, or when Allah in the Quran says, Ya Bani Israel, Israel is who? It's Yaqub alayhi salam. Okay, don't get confused. Israel is Yaqub alayhi salam. Israel is Yaqub alayhi salam. Okay, so Bani Israel are the kids of Yaqub. How many kids? Yalla, we want them on the phone to get at least one right. How many kids? 12 kids? 12 kids. Sayyidina Yaqub had actually 12 kids. Now, just as a side, I'm not going to ask you, but just so that you can connect some stuff. Okay? That's why when Sayyidina Musa, after a lot of years, okay, when Sayyidina Musa gets them the water out, Allah makes 12 wells. Okay? Because these are the tribes. And when Sayyidina Yusuf sees in his dream, إِنِّي رَأَيْتُ أَحَدَ عَشَرَ كَوْكَبًا, which is 11, plus Sayyidina Yusuf alayhi salam, these are your 12 again. Okay? So that's why this number 12 is very authenticated all over the Quran. It's very clear that they were 12 tribes, 12 kids of Sayyidina Yaqub, and Yaqub alayhi salam is Israel, and his most famous son that we know of is Yusuf alayhi salam. Good job. And Sayyidina Yusuf was thrown where? When he was young. Where did his brothers send him? To Egypt. In a well. Yes, they left him in a well, and then some people found him, took him, he was raised, and then as soon as they took him, they actually what did they do? After they took him, what did they do? They found him in the well, they took him, and what did they do? They sold him, so he actually became a slave. Subhanallah, he became a slave. A very tough beginning of a child. Huh? Yes, so he became a slave. They took him to Egypt, and then somebody from Egypt actually bought him, and then he stayed there. And as soon as it started to look like it's going to be good for Sayyidina Yusuf, what happens? What happens?
His wife.
His wife?
No. The person.
He wasn't married. Are you? The master's wife? Yes, tried to do something bad with him, and then said that he's the one trying to do that. So what do they do with him? They put him in jail for a long time. But then two people are with him in jail. When the two people that he sees, they come and they say, you know what? You seem like a very pious person. Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. You seem like a nice, pious person. And then they have a dream, and they tell him, tell us about the dream. We saw this dream. Okay? Somebody had stuff on top of his head, and the birds are eating from it, and the other is serving. And he tells them, what does Sayyidina Yusuf actually tell them? So they ask him about the dream. They're in prison. They say, you're a pious, good individual. And then what does he tell them? Huh? Oh, mashallah, you're very good. انت اسمك ايه? Omar. Omar said it spot on. I want you guys to realize we're trying to learn, okay? So when actually Sayyidina Yusuf, like you have to imagine that he's in prison. He's in prison. It's tough. And they come and tell him, you're a good person. We saw this dream. You would expect that he's going to tell them what the dream means. He doesn't do that. He finds this an opportunity for da'wah, okay, to actually preach them. So he says, okay, you think I'm good? Let me tell you about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me tell you about it. And remember, he never gave up on Allah. He didn't say like, oh, I was thrown into the well, and then I was sold into slavery, and then as soon as it started to become good, I was actually sent to prison. Why is Allah doing all this stuff to me? No. He actually, as soon as he got the opportunity, and people said, you're good, he then started to tell them about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know what that actually should remind you? It should remind you of the ayah that you guys have in your masjid. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. But so we're going to get to it at a later stage, inshallah. Cool. So he tells them about Allah, and then he tells them the dream, and then he tells the one that's going to be saved when you go out, remember me, and tell your master about me. Does he remember him? No, he forgets him for several years. Okay? And then what happens? He forgets him for several years, and then what happens?
The king of Egypt had a dream
Yeah.
that he sees seven
Seven cows, doing all this stuff, correct? And then he says, does anybody know the interpretation of the dream? And they say, look, this is just noise, don't worry about it. And then until the guy actually remembers and says, you know what? There was somebody in prison that was so pious, and he knows the interpretations of the dreams that have food in it, okay? Specific ones that have food in it. So now they call on Sayyidina Yusuf. And what does Sayyidina Yusuf say? Does he tell them the expression of the dream?
Yes.
So he gives them the interpretation of the dream. Yeah. So here is the cool thing. They ask him about the dream. You think that he said that. He actually did not say that. But to give him a candy, it doesn't matter. He didn't actually say that. That's the beauty of Sayyidina Yusuf if you actually read the story. Yes. What happened, we're going to get to it in a second. You know what he tells them? He tells them what to do. He actually gives them a plan. He doesn't just tell them, oh, what the king saw means that you're going to have 7 years. No. That's part of the explanation. But he actually tells them what to do. He says, you need to plant for 7 years, and then you need to store it. He gives them a full plan. So when they come to the king with the full plan, the king said, I want to see him, get him out of jail. Now remember, he was thrown into the well. He was then sold into slavery. Then he goes to jail. Finally now, he's going to get the opportunity to meet the king. They come to the prison and they tell him, the king wants you. What does he say? Hamza. What? They told him that and he gave them the invitation with the plan, and then the king sends and says, I want Sayyidina Yusuf out. What does Sayyidina Yusuf say?
I think Yusuf says, I won't get out.
Good job. Can you imagine, after all that stuff, now he has his time to meet the king. He can basically convince then the king that he's innocent. He can make all the case he wants. And they come and tell him, come out. The king wants to meet you. And he says, no, I'm not going out. You still think that I did this bad stuff? Go investigate. And if you find me innocent, then come call me. But before that, I'm not going out. Look at the izzah that Sayyidina Yusuf has. He wants to clear his name. So they go and investigate, and it turns out he's innocent. Okay? And now the beauty of the Quran, when you read it, the king now doesn't say, I want him out. Yeah. What does he say? Somebody from the view that actually memorized. What does the king then say? Ali, Ali. In the second time, what does the king say? Because that's beautiful. The first time he says, let's get him out. The second time, what does the king say? لا لسه انت حافظ انت هتقولي بالانجليزي قولي بالعربي. After they ask for Sayyidina Yusuf, he says, I'm not going out. They go and investigate, and now they send بعديها بقى خلاص فعرفوا ان هو he's fine, and now the king wants him out. What does he say? انت لو عارف قول. انتوا حافظين انتوا. قال له ايه؟ يس قول بصوت عالي. قال ائتوني به أستخلصه لنفسي. Okay? Now he's not telling them get him out. He's saying I want a one-on-one with this person. That's a very different individual than anybody I've talked to. He didn't go out. He struggled with all that. Now I want a one-on-one. And then in the one-on-one, he says, what do you want? خرج عني على خزائن الأرض. And all that stuff. So he became the minister of trade, or whatever you want to call it, finance in Egypt. And stuff was good. And then we all know the story. And then his brothers come. Where is he? He's actually in Egypt, by the way. Correct? So Sayyidina Yusuf is the one that got the Jews to Egypt. Because then they will become Jewish. لما Sayyidina Musa will come to them. Yani Bani Israel, what actually got Bani Israel in Egypt was Sayyidina Yusuf, because he was there. And then they come. And we all know the story. So, and then at the end, when they see Sayyidina Yusuf, and he tells them, قال أنا يوسف وهذا أخي قد من الله علينا. And then they ask him for forgiveness. What does he do? صح بس when they ask him for forgiveness, they say, whoa, you're Yusuf alayhi salam, we wronged ourselves, ask for forgiveness. What does Sayyidina Yusuf do?
He accepts.
He accepts it. قال لا تثريب عليكم اليوم يغفر الله لكم هو أرحم الراحمين. Wow. So he actually accepts that. Cool. So Sayyidina Yusuf accepts them and they're all good. Now let's very briefly, because we only have 5 minutes, go to Sayyidina Musa. Okay? Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. Sayyidina Musa was born at the time where Fir'aun was killing who? Was killing everybody? He was killing the boys of Bani Israel. Okay? So he was killing particularly the older ones, but he was killing the boys of Bani Israel. Prophet Musa's mother was very worried about him, so Allah revealed to her that she should do what? She should do what?
Puts him in a basket and puts him in the ocean.
She should do what? Yes. Huh? Why are you raising your hand? Yeah, can you imagine? I want particularly the women to listen. Allah is telling the mother of Sayyidina Musa, if you're worried about him, if somebody advises you, you're going to say, if you're worried about your son, like hide him in the closet or do something. Allah is saying, if you're worried about your son, then put him in a basket and throw this basket into the river. Like if his chances of survival at home or like 10%, if he's in a basket in the river, his survival chances are close to none. But because it's coming from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then the mother of Sayyidina Musa does that. And she throws him into the basket, into the river, and subhanAllah, who picks him up?
One of Pharaoh's.
And yes, they pick him up, Pharaoh's castle basically, and they give them to the wife of Pharaoh, and her name is? Asya. Asya, مش عاصية. Asya بوزنا المعنى خالص. Asya. Okay, cool. So Allah gives in Surah Al-Tahrim, let's just jump a little bit because we're out of time. Allah gives in Surah Al-Tahrim an example of 2 women that are bad and 2 women that are great. Surah Al-Tahrim, okay? 2 women that are bad, 2 women that are great. Who are the 2 women that are bad? The 2 bad ones first. The 2 bad ones, yes. Yes, زوجة نوح, يعني the wife of Sayyidina Nuh. Remember when we talked to Sayyidina Nuh? I forgot to ask you, his wife never believed in him as well, not just his son. امرأة نوح وامرأة لوط. Okay, so the wife of Sayyidina Lut also did not believe in him. And then Allah gives an example of 2 women that are the best, that are perfect. 2 perfect women. Yes. امرأة فرعون, Asya, and Maryam ibn Imran, which is Sayyidah Maryam. Cool. So we know that Sayyidah Asya, but remember, because this stuff is critical, Asya is the wife of who? Okay. So if you know that, then that takes out of question that anybody makes an argument that says my environment is bad. That's why I'm not believing. Focus with me. That's why Allah gives us those examples. Okay? If the wife of Fir'aun, almost one of the worst people that have ever walked this earth, is Fir'aun, and his wife, who's under him, is one that Allah puts as an example of one of the best women that have ever walked this earth. What Allah is telling us is, don't continue to argue because your environment is such and such, I'm not a good person. Or because my environment is doing this and that, I'm doing the same wrong. Allah is telling you you're personally accountable and is giving us an example. The wife of Fir'aun becomes one of the better ones. Cool. Sayyidina Musa goes to... Very close. 10 minutes? 5 minutes. Okay. So we're going to fast forward because we only have 5 minutes. So Sayyidina Musa, we heard about him. طيب. Allah gave, let's make it harder. Because you guys all know the story of Sayyidina Musa. ركز معايا بقى. Okay. So Allah gave the people of Sayyidina Musa, actually the people of Fir'aun, signs. How many signs did Allah give them? انت تعدهم؟ مكتوبة يا عم في الآية على طول ما تعدش. افتكر في الآية ما تقعدش تعد. How many signs and which surah is this ayah? and you ask Nabil for your gift card. يعني 3 things صح؟ يعني you tell me how many signs. طبعا جاب معاك ما شاء الله. How many signs, which surah is it in, and remember to ask Nabil for your gift card. Not me. I just come and go. انت جبت كذا مرة. ها. Yes.
Okay, there were 5 signs.
5 signs. Bibo, how many signs? 7? Somebody says 5. Somebody says 7.
It's 9.
Huh.
9.
9 signs. Good job. Which surah is that in? الايه؟ مش فاهم. I don't know what this one is. Taha? No, not Taha. It's not in Taha. Okay, so Allah gave the people of Fir'aun 9 signs. 9 signs. Okay? 9 signs. الجراد والحمل والضفادع والدم. ما دول شويه ولو رحت للصفحه اللي قبليها هتلاقي العصا انت ما عدتهاش واليد صح يعني. So if you actually count قد اتينا بني اسرائيل آل فرعون 9 آيات. فين بقى السوره دي؟ اعراف. Good job. اعراف it is اعراف. Yeah, but the ayah that says that we gave them 9 signs is in A'raf. Okay? So in Surah Al-A'raf. You guys should read Surah Al-A'raf. It's one of the beautiful surah. All the surah are beautiful. MashaAllah. Cool. So it's A'raf, 9 signs. And after all those signs, they still disbelieve. So Allah, basically, Allah told Sayyidina Musa to go with his people. And they crossed the sea, the Red Sea. And then Pharaoh and his army tried to cross with them, and then Allah collapsed the Red Sea on them. And as Pharaoh was drowning, he says what? Good job. So he says, I believe now in what Bani Israel has believed in. But Allah tells him too late, which is again another thing for us to learn. This is what I have questions and then you ask at the end, just given the time. So basically what happens here is, he actually says, I believe, but it was too late. So Prophet Muhammad tells us, you can believe until your ruh is here. Okay, when it reaches here, khalas, you see the truth, that's too late. Cool. So that's Sayyidina Musa. We're going to fast forward very quickly and go to Sayyidina Isa. Okay, Sayyidina Isa, very quickly. Sayyidina Isa. Okay. So Sayyidina Isa, who was his mother? Maryam. Who was his father? You're confused, huh? You're confused.
Tricky question.
Huh? He had no father. That's why you're confused. Good. I'm glad you're confused. You didn't just give me a name. Good. So he had just a mother, which is Maryam. Correct? So that's actually something very cool. When Sayyidina Maryam was pregnant in Sayyidina Isa, Allah tells her something very interesting. Now remember, she's pregnant. There was something special that Sayyidina Maryam used to get. So Zakaria, وكفلها Zakaria, وبعد كده, what did she used to get? Fruits, huh? So she would get fruits out of season. Focus on that cool thing. So Allah actually was giving her the food. Okay? Before she was even pregnant, Allah used to give her the food all the time. Now when she's pregnant and about to deliver, Allah used to give her the food all the time. When she's pregnant and about to deliver, what does Allah tell her? Shake the palm tree. Allah used to give her the food when she was not pregnant. Now she's pregnant and about to deliver, and Allah tells her, okay, can a strong man shake the palm tree and get dates? Can a woman do that? Let alone a pregnant woman that is actually about to deliver? So why is Allah telling her to shake the palm tree when Allah actually used to give her the food anyways? What's going on here? Yes. So yes, that we learn that we need to put the effort. We can never be complacent. That's for us to learn. Allah is telling us, if Sayyidina Maryam, while she's about to deliver, and she would get the food anyways, But now Allah is telling you, shake the palm tree. Make the effort, and still Allah is going to give you the dates because you're not going to get it by yourself anyway. Cool. She delivers Sayyidina Isa. What are some of the signs Allah gives Sayyidina Isa? Some of the signs Allah gives Sayyidina Isa. Yes. Yes. مش معانا الفرق. Yes. Huh? He could heal the people, sir. He could heal the people. He could do what else?
He can like talk when he was little.
He could talk when he was little, absolutely. He spoke when he was a child.
He could bring back the dead, and he could
He could bring back the dead.
He could make
He can make
blind people
the blind see.
I'm sorry to say that one.
Okay. And he can even tell them what they're storing in their house. Okay? He can even tell them what they're storing in their house. Cool. Did they believe in him? Most of the people back then, did they believe in him? No. Where was Sayyidina Isa actually born? Mecca la. Beit Lahm. Palestine. Beit Lahm. Okay? Yes. So this is where Sayyidina Isa was born. And then, in a very interesting surah, and some interesting ayat, Allah tells us about the people of Sayyidina Isa, his Hawariyin. They asked him for a miracle. What was that miracle? They asked Sayyidina Isa for a miracle. They wanted a specific thing. What was that miracle? Send down a table full of food on them. Okay? What is this table called? Ma'idah. And which surah is it in? Surah Al-Ma'idah. Okay. They asked him, أنزل على مائدة من السماء تكون لنا عيدا لأولنا وآخرنا وآية منك وارزقنا وأنت خير الرازقين. And then Sayyidina Isa asks Allah, the dua we just said, that Allahumma anzil anna ma'idah, the stuff we just said, and then Allah actually brings down the ma'idah. Now be careful. Here's another learning, and then we have two more questions, and then we'll conclude, inshallah. One more learning that is very critical. Gabir.
Yes.
When Allah gives down the Ma'idah, in Surah Al-Ma'idah, last page, okay? قال الله إني سمعني.
فمن يكفر بعد منكم فإني أعذبه عذابا لا أعذبه أحدا من العالمين.
Allah يفتح عليك يا جابر. Wait بقى. That's a very important thing. Because we ask Allah day and night, oh Allah, I want to see the sign. Oh Allah, show us signs of your signs. Oh Allah, bring down on them signs. Put it up. No, we keep asking. Allah is teaching you in Surah Al-Ma'idah. If you ask for a sign, and Allah gives you that sign, and then you still don't believe, you're in big trouble. Allah says, Allah inni munazziluha alaykum. I'm going to give it to you. But فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بَعْدُ مِنْكُمْ فَإِنِّي أُعَذِّبُهُ عَذَابًا لَا أُعَذِّبُهُ أَحَدًا مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. If I give you the sign, Allah is saying, when I give you the sign and you don't believe, then you're in big trouble. So this is a learning from us. Don't ask for signs. Okay, we're actually better off not getting those signs that we keep asking for. We're better off without those signs. At least we have some wiggle room. You see the sign, you don't believe, you're in big trouble. Cool. Sayyidina Isa, they tried to catch him, they tried to kill him. Bani Israel, did they kill him?
Another one that looks the same.
Somebody, ولكن شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. Good job. They did not kill him. بَلْ رَفَعَهُ اللَّهُ إِلَيْهِ. Allah took him up in the sky. Yes. So he took him up in the sky. Alhamdulillah. Now, who comes after Sayyidina Isa? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ comes after Sayyidina Isa. Wow. And does anybody come after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ? No. The last messenger. The last messenger of Allah is Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. معلش دي قصة أخرى, different story for different time. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the last messenger that Allah sends ﷺ, and Allah commands Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in the Quran and tells him what? He says, you're the best because you have what? You have what? Because you pray at night all the time? Perhaps. But say what? He tells him something different. Huh? Biggest ummah? Quran is a very important thing. But Allah tells him you have something that is perfect. What is it? Yes, that it is. Yes. Best character. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So when Allah commands Prophet Muhammad, He focuses on the character. A learning from us that we need to focus on our character. We know to perfect our character. Okay. Prophet Muhammad preaches, actually he receives the revelation when he was how old? Revelation, how old? 40, and he stays preaching people for how many years? 23 years. How many of those in Mecca? How many in Medina? 13 in Mecca, 10 in Medina. Good job. And Prophet Muhammad passes away when he is 63, 64. It depends how you want to count. But yes, after 23 years. And when Prophet Muhammad, which year does Prophet Muhammad open Mecca in it? After Hijrah. Year what? Fath Mecca is year what? 6? 610? A 610 دي. ها؟ ايه 610 دي يا ابني؟ ها؟
638.
ايه؟ No, not the year number. How many years after Hijrah? After Hijrah.
8 years.
8 years after Hijrah. 8 years after Hijrah. You know when Prophet Muhammad went to open Mecca, how many Muslims were there with Prophet Muhammad around? Let me tell you, given the time, around 10,000 people. Okay, 10,000 people go and open Mecca around. You know, 2 years later, Prophet Muhammad does Hajj. Prophet Muhammad does Hajj in year 10. Okay, how many people perform Hajj with Prophet Muhammad? More than 100,000. In 2 years of peace, Islam grew more than 10 times. From 10,000 to more than 100,000. Okay? In the whole 21 years, we reached 10,000. In 2 more years, we reached 100,000. We love peace because we want to preach people. Because it's very logical. When they hear about it, they enter Islam. Cool. And then, when we hear the name of Prophet Muhammad, what do we say? Good. So we're gonna, because I was told now a couple of times that we need to conclude, we're gonna make a quick dua. And then, anybody that did not get a candy or a game or whatever it is, stay seated and raise your hand. They're gonna give you something, okay? So anybody that did not get a candy or a game or wants another one or whatever it is, just sit down, stay seated, and we're gonna give you one. But before that, we're gonna make a quick dua. Yeah.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد في الأولين وفي الآخرين وصل على سيدنا محمد في الملأ الأعلى إلى يوم الدين. اللهم اهدنا فيمن هديت وعافنا فيمن عافيت وتولنا فيمن توليت وبارك لنا اللهم فيما أعطيت وقنا شر ما قضيت فإنك تقضي ولا يقضى عليك إنه لا يذل من واليت ولا يعز من عاديت تباركتنا وتعاليت. اللهم ارحمنا بالقرآن واجعله لنا إماما ونورا وهدى ورحمة. اللهم ذكرنا منه ما نسينا وعلمنا منه ما جهلنا وارزقنا تلاوته آناء الليل وأطراف النهار واجعله لنا حجة يا رب العالمين. اللهم إنا أسألك خير المسألة وخير الدعاء وخير النجاح وخير العلم وخير العمل وخير الثواب وخير الحياة وخير الممات وثبت وثبتنا وثقل موازيننا وحقق إيماننا وارفع درجاتنا وتقبل صلاتنا واغفر خطيئاتنا واسألك العلا من الجنة. اللهم إني أسألك موجبات رحمتك وعزائم مغفرتك والسلامة من كل إثم والغنيمة من كل بر والفوز بالجنة والنجاة من النار. اللهم كن لإخواننا المستضعفين في كل مكان يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا ذا الجلال والعزة يا ذا الجبروت والعزة. اللهم كن لإخواننا المستضعفين في فلسطين اللهم كن لهم مؤيدا وظهيرا. اللهم كن لإخواننا المرابطين في المسجد الأقصى اللهم فرج همهم اللهم انصرهم اللهم نفس كربهم اللهم داوي جرحاهم اللهم عاف مبتلاهم اللهم اشف مرضاهم اللهم ارحم موتاهم اللهم تقبل شهداءهم اللهم كن لهم عونا ونصيرا ومؤيدا وظهيرا. اللهم يا منتقم يا جبار عليك بمن ظلمهم عليك بعدوك وعدوهم يا قوي يا عزيز. اللهم مرسل الكتاب مجري السحاب هازم الأحزاب اهزمهم وزلزلهم وزعزعهم يا سريع الحساب. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه الأخيار وسلم تسليما كثيرا.